Good afternoon, friends. There are two main purposes that I would like to achieve in this interaction with you. One, to familiarize you with the concept of grassroots innovation and how all of you can be part of the grassroots innovation movement, which has now spread to 115 countries, in which we are working closely with UNDP Ag-Lab Network. 91 labs in 115 countries. So why are we interested in grassroots innovations, and how do they help our society in solving problems that either formal R&D institutions or private sector are unable to solve? So this is the central question. And it is important, therefore, to realize that if the problem remains, yes, Kadambari, you wanted to say something? If a problem remains unaddressed, Amar, can you keep on admitting the students who are entering?
Yes, we are doing it.
Yeah. So if maybe I should wait for a few minutes, because can you send a message to the group that everybody should join immediately now?
Yes, sir.
It is disturbed. Yeah. Yes. Can you send a message?
Yes.
I can wait for 1 minute or two. Friends, time is of great importance, and I hope that all of you will realize that we should be as punctual as possible so that we don't miss the time for learning. Now, I had given one assignment to you all yesterday. Did you talk to your elders? Did you find something? Have some of you discovered some traditional knowledge or unmet need or an innovation already in the last 2 days? Speak up, please. Anybody? Has any one of you identified either an unmet need around you, be it in the family, be it in your community, be it of the elders, whosoever, or have discovered a traditional knowledge which you would feel can solve the problem even today? Anybody?
Sir,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Vasla.
Sir, okay.
Actually, sir, actually, as you already know about as a director Indica, usually when I was a kid, whenever I felt down and I get wound, usually my father go to the neem plant and by the bark of that neem leaf, there is a latex or wax type thing come out, and he extract that and put that on my wound. I don't know exactly what that was when I was a kid, but right now I get to know that it works as an what should I say, antiseptic, or also the healing. It has the healing capacity for a wound. So that coming out from the bark of the neem is a very traditional way. When I was a kid, from becoming young, they still using these kind of treatment. Traditional treatment for because I belong from a village background, so this is exactly what I observed in my childhood. And right now I talked to my father and I asked that question, so he replied me like that the bark latex coming out from the bark of the neem is a antiseptic and has the capacity to
Vatsala, you are not audible.
sir, am I audible now?
Yes, continue.
Sorry, sir, due to network issue, I faced some issues. Sir, actually, I was talking about the neem plant as a director indica. Sir, when I was a kid, when I felt on the ground or I get some kind of wound, so my father usually don't take me to the hospital because
No,
we
Masla,
belong to
I understood what you said. I'm only saying that neem bark does not produce latex. So what he must have done, he must take the neem bark and rubbed it on a rough surface like a stone and use the paste. Is that right? Is that what he did?
Sir, what I saw that he used a knife to rub that bark, and something has come out. I don't know that that part is a bark or that liquid thing, but the bark he just rubbed the knife on that bark, and he gets some sticky type thing.
Okay.
It could be
Okay.
the bark to that.
It may be the fresh bark, may not be the dried up bark.
Yes, sir,
Possible.
exactly.
Yes, yes. So there is a little sap on that, which he used. Now, it's a very interesting observation, Vasla. And it is also interesting because you can do an experiment to find out its antibiotic properties. How will you set up an experiment?
Sir, from the ground level, I literally wanted to extract that bark part thing and observe under the microscope and wanted to study about neem at the basic level. That
No, no,
what
no.
part
If you want to do a home experiment to validate the antimicrobial properties of the sap, which oozes out from the fresh bark of neem, how will you set up the experiment at home?
Sir, if I talk about experiment, usually in my family, there are a lot of kids who get pounded and they play.
No. We don't want to do a human experiment. Is it possible that you can find out if you leave rice steep or dal mixed together in a bowl or in a petri dish, mixed with little bit of agar, which is easily available, seaweed you can use, and then leave it in the atmosphere open, it will get some fungus or bacteria, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you put some drops of the sap and then see the zone of inhibition, you can find out whether it is inhibiting the microbial growth, isn't it?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Why don't you do that experiment?
Sir,
There is no risk in it. It's absolutely safe. You have used this material.
okay, sir. For sure, I will.
Anna? And share the photograph with everybody. I would like each one of you to be an innovator. What does innovator do? They see an opportunity, they see an unmet need, they try to address it. Assume for a minute that you take sap of the fresh bark, you take paste of the dried bark, you take paste of the leaves, and use all the three separately on the same medium at three different points, and look at their zone of inhibition. Maybe, I don't know, I have not done this experiment, so I cannot say for sure, but I will ask Amar also, our lab also should do a small experiment to just confirm your results. We will see whether the sap has higher antimicrobial property than both bark, which has tannins, and leaves, which also have azadirachtin and other compounds. So it is very interesting that we can see the relative inhibitory effect of three different parts of the same tree, isn't it? So grassroots innovators, what do? They also look at problems like the way you have been looking at. They will see a need and then try to address those needs through their own effort, through their own experiments. Many times they're able to find solutions that nobody in the world had thought about. Even children can sometimes come out with the solutions that nobody else had thought about. And this is something that we need to learn about. So let me show you an example of how this happens. And I'll begin with a simple example. And I will come to example first and then show you something else later. So, do you see this? Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So Shalini, she was in class 8 and her grandfather could not use. Kusum, you want to say something? Kusum, you have to switch off. Yes. Now, she was in class 8. She saw her father not being able to use walker, which many of you must have seen, on the steps. She didn't do anything. She wrote on a piece of paper, can the front legs become adjustable, height adjustable? Honeybee Network is always trying to recognize such kids and other grassroots innovators. So what did you do? Our team at NIF, National Innovation Foundation, converted that idea into a prototype and developed a walker where the legs become taller when you come down and become shorter, as you can see the cursor, when you go up. Such a walker does not exist anywhere in the world, neither in US nor in Europe, Australia, Japan, nowhere. A universal solution was found. It was licensed to a company, BIIS, which is working in assistive devices. She got signing fee, she gets royalty, she's an entrepreneur now, and the product is available in the market. All of that happened when she was just in class 8. Now she has done graduation in biotech and she's doing some other work now. But at that time, she's from Bihar, and she sent the idea, she was in class 8. So it is possible that we can find out such solutions around us. All of you can invent. That's my first assertion. All of you can invent. What are the requirements for invention? What should we do when we have to develop some new idea? Any one of you? What should we do?
Sir, we need to identify a problem in a society.
Around us or anything, sir. We need to first identify the problem, sir.
Okay, first thing, you should identify a problem. All right. Second?
And we need to build a solution for the problem.
No, not so early, not so early, not so early. What should we do after we identify the problem?
So there is any other solution available or in the market or not?
First thing, yes, you are right. You are right. Good point. We will find out whether somebody else has solved this problem. What else will we do?
Sir, we'll do a literature survey on those
Okay.
problems.
How many types of literature survey should we do to find novelty of an idea? One is on the web, we can search. Second,
Sir, we can do a search like, is there any company available solution for this problem?
no. So there are, one is we can search in journals, books. That is one source. Second source,
IP, sir, like
IP patent search.
patent database.
Yes, sir.
Third, anybody? What is the third source from where we can find out whether anybody has solved this problem? One of you must answer this question. After doing literature survey, after doing patent search, what else should we look at? Are you saying that all available solutions will be found in these two sources? Are you saying that? What else will you do? Nobody in the class is answering this question. Anjali, Harsha, Parthipan.
Sir, we can even do a methodological review, like to find out what all methods are indigenous available for that problem. Like what all techniques are
No, what are the
available, and
sources?
they
What are the sources? One is literature.
Yes, sir.
Second is patent. What is the third source?
So through the stakeholder who's involved in this problem statement, sir.
All right.
Yes,
third
the
is-
local people.
Okay. Fourth.
So, and where the problem is evolved from that place
No,
itself.
that comes in the local people. Okay. Then what else? Fourth. If you want to be
Products
an
produced by competitors.
Bachchan?
Products produced by potential competitors of your product.
No, my question is, what are the sources of data? Whether they are competitors, collaborators is a subsequent matter. You have done literature survey, you have done the patent survey, patent database. You have now also talked to the stakeholders, the people and all that. Now, what is the fourth source? Where you will check whether any solution exists. I'm sure all of you know that, but you're not able to come to that. Which are the sites you go when you look for some product?
In online shopping sites.
Yes, there are Alibaba.com, there is Amazon, there is IndiaMart, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
There are industrial product finder. There is a volume which comes out every month, industrial product finder. So there are many such marketing sources. So there may be an innovator who has not filed a patent, who has not published a paper, right? So he will not be accessible to you from the first two sources, but who has made a product and brought it to the market. And let us assume for a minute that he has put it online. Now let us go to the fifth category. Now you can't go to every small shop or city to find out whether anybody has done it. So how do we find where from we will get the information of those solutions which are not online, which are not in literature, which are not in patent database, and which are not so well known that local committees would know about them? So which is the fifth source? What else can I do?
Word of mouth.
I'm sorry,
Word of mouth.
I couldn't follow it. Can you repeat?
No, if it's not a very well-known product, you could probably try to find out using something like social media to see if there are any consumers who have heard of such a product.
Well, no. You are mixing up the two things. Second part is very interesting. First part is not relevant because when you already mentioned that I have said that it is not online, so then it will not come up in social media either, isn't it? If it was on social media, it will come online, isn't it?
No, I mean, so something like a poll or a discussion, a focus group or something like that, where you talk to consumers.
Or use the word consumer. So you can find out, there was a machine which somebody had invented to cut lemon into 8 pieces instead of 4. You know, many times when you go to restaurant, you use pickle. And if there are 4 pieces, then it is too big for you to eat. Then you struggle with the pickle if it is not properly matured or it has not yet been ready to cut. Then you strike with the spoon on the plate and it doesn't get cut. And then you lift it with a hand or something and then try to cut a small bite because the 1/4 piece will be too sour and too strong for your mouth. So there was a person who made a machine for 8 pieces. So then we thought, we didn't find in the literature, we didn't find in the patent, we didn't find from the local people, we didn't find from the general knowledgeable people, and we didn't find on the e-commerce sites either. So what do? So we found who are the consumer, who may be the consumer of small pieces. Now there are 2 possible consumers. One is pickle industry, correct? And second could be the hotel industry. So we said pickle industry is the one which may supply to the hotel also. So let us find out where are the clusters of pickle industry. So Panipat is one place in Haryana. There are other places which are famous for pickle. So we wrote to the entrepreneurs in the pickle industry who are making machines for cutting lemon. And most of their machines were for 4 pieces. So we wrote to them that we want to buy a machine for 8 pieces as a decoy customer. And can you supply us? And the fellow wrote, but we don't have 8 pieces, but we can develop one. So like that, we wrote to 3 or 4 different clusters, and we found out that there was no machine at the moment made by those who were manufacturing such machines and selling them to the major user or the consumer, such as pickle industry. We decided to give an award to that person from Tamil Nadu. You see the point? So in a grassroots innovation ecosystem, it's very important for us to recognize the talent, but we have to do a lot of homework. And these 5 methods that I mentioned will need to be done even by those of you who are very keen to push the frontier of innovation as hard as possible. If you don't do that, maybe after some time when you enter the market and you find somebody else is already marketing this, then your projections, your business plans will go wrong, isn't it? So I began with the last point of the presentation, which is if there is an innovation, if you identify a need, if you come across a creative solution, then how would you find out whether you should spend your precious part of your life, time of your life, in solving that problem? And if you try to find out, it is, I would say, even if a solution is available, should you still work on it? Anybody? Assume for a minute a solution is available.
Yes, sir. We
Under
can,
what conditions? Under what conditions?
like user perspective, cost effective.
What the problem exists in that solution, sir? We overcome the challenges in the existing solution.
Very good point. So there are
Yes,
3
sir.
dimensions. Yeah, go ahead.
So, no, I was just saying sometime finding the loopholes is even more important than making up an innovation.
Well. Finding the weaknesses of an existing product can be a trigger for innovation, but just finding problem is not enough. You have to try to solve it. Assume, but that's okay. I mean, what you may mean is that it is very important. Fair enough. Now, there are 3 dimensions of any product, mechanical product or electronic product: form, feature, and function. And this is true for even biological product. See, let's say if you have an enzyme, what form is it available? It's available in powder form. Is it available in liquid form? Is it available in vapor form? What form is it available? Function and feature. Can it tolerate? Feature is it thermotolerant? It can be stored at room temperature, and it doesn't require any cold chain. Wonderful. Its shelf life is long enough. No worry whether you can store it for longer period. Cost is low, etc., etc. And third is function. So it can be used, let us say, to digest bio-waste into very good manure, or it's an enzyme which breaks down the polymer chain of a plastic and converts into a decomposable material, let us say. Wonderful. There are organisms which can digest plastic. A lot of research is being done on that. So this is the functionality: form, feature, and function. So what do grassroots innovators do? Within their constraints, they try to modify something out of it. So when the walker was developed, the walker existed. What was changed? A feature. What did it change? The functionality, isn't it? So it became now adjustable. For that, you have to have adjustable height mechanism, and you have to make it stable enough so that people can use it on the stairs. Or if you have an enzyme, you need to make it storable, because when I was doing my master research, I was trying to use nitrate reductase enzyme, and I used to get it from Patel Chest Institute, NADH, and then I would try to use it to develop the assay for nitrate reductase to find out which genotypes were more efficient in using nitrates. It is very unstable enzyme, very difficult. At least at that time, 1970s, early 70s, it was not so easy to sterilize. So I couldn't do that. I did other work on RNA-DNA ratio and some other enzymes, but this one I couldn't. So there are enzymes which may be unstable or which are thermolabile. Slight change in temperature may make them inactive. So then we have to change those features and functions. Now, having said that, let's go back and see some of the other aspects of the story that I want to tell you. So let's go back and talk about two kinds of innovations. Innovations for grassroots and innovations from grassroots. We call innovations which come up from grassroots as grassroots innovations, and the rest are social innovations for grassroots applications. How do we distinguish them? We distinguish them from those which scientists develop and those which people develop. We also believe that material constraints are not a necessary condition for triggering frugal innovation. What is frugal innovation? Innovation which is frugal for consumer, frugal for manufacturer, and frugal for nature. Remember that, all the three. So let me show you. I have that here. So let's see. This is, yeah, I have a tea bag in my hand. Can you see that? It's a 1 rupee, let's say, tea bag. And I can make tea out of it. I'm thinking tea. This bag is very frugal, very affordable. Even poor people can afford it. It is frugal for manufacturer because if they can sell it in 1 rupee, obviously they will, their cost may be 20 paisa, 30 paisa. But is it frugal for nature? It's not frugal for nature. Because if you calculate the cost of collecting this piece of plastic from 650,000 villages of India, it's a very costly innovation. So all the three kinds of frugality we need. And one of the drivers of innovation, which is frugal but also grassroots level, is voluntary suffering. So let's say we have knowledge, feeling, and doing. We have knowledge is so much, feelings are this much, and doing is this. Many of you feel the need for doing many things. You are exposed to a lot of experiences of your own or that of others. You are well versed in literature, you read a lot. So your knowledge is expanding. You can't feel equally strongly about all the problems that you read about. Among the problems that you feel strongly about, you take action only on few, isn't it? So knowledge is so much, feeling is this much, action is this much. Can we change the shape of this triangle? The grassroots innovators, when they feel strongly about a problem, they take action, even if it is the problem of their friend or their neighbor. And this becomes a very important driver. Some Vedana, some means equal, Vedana means pain. When you feel the pain of someone else as strongly as that person feels it, then it is no more that person's pain, it becomes your pain. At that time, when you're trying to use Sajanshilta or creativity, you're not doing any favor to someone else. It may be your grandparents or anybody else. You are solving your own problem. You're reducing your own pain. So Samvedana says Sajanshilta through Swanta hai Sukhai, for your own happiness. From empathy is not the right word. Empathy is for others, Samvedana is within. But for want of a better word, let's say for a minute, empathy is a very important driver, but it is something that must be internalized. You should not be driven by a heroism that I'm going to solve problem of the world, of the society. No, no, no. Now that problem has become yours because someone who has faced this problem, you are suffering, voluntarily suffering by that problem. And it need not be necessarily of your blood relation. It could be anybody, but you feel strongly about it. And then when you feel strongly about it, you solve it. So when Shilpi told you about a $1 solution, we gave Infosys Foundation Award also to that professor, the doctor in Bangalore. So who made a small ring which could be fitted into your vocal cord, which gets damaged because of the cancer. And now you can speak. Just at that time, it was 50 rupees. Solution. Why did he develop it? This is an innovation for grassroots. It was not innovation from grassroots. He was a doctor. But both are important. He solved it because he felt the pain of those whom he was treating, but whom he was not enabling to speak properly. So empathy can be very important driver. Creativity through empathy, and the spirit that is driving you is Swanta Sukhai, for your own happiness. Mind you, when you do something for your own happiness, you don't look for external rewards or rewards. Because you are happy when you solve a problem. And that happiness is your reward. So why do you care about whether anybody else notices or not? So my suggestion to you all is that when you look at the knowledge system and you find some solutions, either by yourself or by others, from grassroots or for grassroots, try to absorb the energy that that person brings in. Now let us look at the unmet need. How do we find out the unmet need and what we call as sometimes wicked problems? Wicked problems are those which have remained unsolved for a long time. So for a long time, your problem remained unsolved. So what is this lady doing? We met her in Bastar Shodhyatra. She is trying to take the kernel of mahua seed. Mahua, you know, some of you might know, it's a tree, grows in the forest. She is trying to break the kernel. Kernel is the skin is very hard. She's using a stone. And then from the kernel, she will extract oil, which she will use both for lighting and cooking. Now, the problem is, this solution was developed 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years ago. And we couldn't make any difference to the life of these tribal people for all these years. We couldn't develop a proper nutcracker. Isn't it a problem worth solving? Is it or it is not?
Yes.
Now, this shows that in a society which can put 104 satellites in different orbits in a single launch. That is what ISRO has done. Cannot solve this problem? No, it can solve this problem. We are competent. We are not compassionate enough. Competency is not a substitute for compassion. Is it true? You may be very competent, great scholar, but the problem you are working on may be affecting 0.0001% people, and that too very elite people. Fine, you can work on that. I have no quarrel with that, except that people like her sitting here will still be struggling with an old solution. Let me give you an example. And this is again from children. Young children, much younger than you all are. And my point is, what happens to us when we grow up as adults? Why does our creativity go down? So what did these children see? As you can see, many times I'm bending forward. Actually, I should not bend forward because it will affect my back. So I should give my back a rest like this and sit straight. That is the right posture, but I was not following it. So when I'm not following it and I'm getting excited, I'm coming close, the special sensors on the back will not be pressed, and the signal should come, sit properly, I will not let you do work. That's a great message. I will have to sit properly, and my back will remain safe, and I will not get lower back pain, which I did get once in a few years, for the last 10 years, 15 years. I must be coerced to sit properly so that I don't suffer, which is in my interest. But this is not a solution problem that I discovered. Students of different parts of the country, class 5, from Rizvi, class 10, from Haryana, from Hardoi, UP, from Lucknow, UP, they sent us this idea and they got Ignite Award for that. Or there can be a sensor in the camera, in the laptop or desktop, which will look at my posture and give a message. The screen will go blank and the message will come. Another example. Now, this is, many of you might be interested in fuel efficiency. And look at this in Mizoram, the Meghalaya. This lady is using 1, 2, 3, and on the top she has a bag of the seed. So 4 levels of heat harnessing. As the fumes go up, they lose temperature, right? And you need different degrees of temperature for curing wood, for drying wood. Cherrapunji has maximum rainfall, for drying cheese or meat, for storing it and smoking it, and disinfecting the seeds. It's a great lesson that we can learn. In our kitchens, when you have a gas stove, we don't have a shelf to keep leftover vegetables or fruits to dry. So let me come to a concept which some of you might find interesting for your future scholarship. So I was walking, I walk with my students and also with anybody. She has been organizing on behalf of the Honeybee Network Shodhyatras. And these Shodhyatras, last one was in Rameshwaram. So we had one in Kangra, and I saw this tree. So I asked him, "Bhai, ye kya hua? What did you do?" The tree talked to me as if, said I was not supposed to branch, but when I branched, I made it into a parallel stem. As I'm talking to you, many cells in my body are going through mutation, as one of you asked that question yesterday. Fortunately, these mutations are either being repaired, replaced, bypassed, rejected, so that I don't get affected and I continue to talk to you. This capacity of my body or of nature to heal itself is called autopoiesis. Many times when you put AI into certain tools, they become by usage more intelligent. They can become, imagine a knife which cuts fruits and becomes sharper every time it cuts fruits. That capability is very important in innovations. Grassroots innovators, because they don't have exposure to electronics and many advanced materials, may not be able to bring autopoietic function in mechanical solutions. But in many biological solutions, they can do that. So they can store pickle for 10 years and it doesn't get infected, though it is kept at room temperature in the kitchen or in the storeroom. But that pickle will not spoil without any preservative. Periodically, they will keep it under the sun and that's it. So self-correcting, self-design, self-governed, that becomes a very good model. I've already talked about this. Now we would like solutions to be accessible, affordable, and available. Many times solutions are accessible and affordable, but not available because supply chain has not been developed. Distribution system has not been developed. Many grassroots innovators suffer from a major constraint in distributing their solutions. So they remain localized. That's where the challenge is. Many of you, when they develop solutions, also think about how will it be delivered to the people. Will it be through online? Will it be through a phone that you can put an order? Or is it through the distribution chain? Will it be, you will appoint distributors or retailers? Or will you piggyback on existing distribution chain? So in Africa, one of the countries, they used soft drink distributors to distribute school books for children because nothing else was reaching almost every small village except these people. So they said, why will you carry the books for children? And that's how they distributed. So sometimes we use existing supply chains to deliver our products. There are different kinds of exclusion. I'll skip it for a moment, but just to know that there are certain regions, spaces which are bypassed by the market. There are certain sectors like handloom, which is bypassed by the market. There are certain seasons, flood, drought, which are also bypassed, or markets are not very efficient in those places. Certain social segments, scheduled tribes, scheduled caste people, even women in many cases, are neglected by the market. Certain skills are ignored, and the structure of governance, the allocative principles of resources may be defective. They may be based on population density. But population density in hill areas, in deserts, is very low. So resources will not reach them as well. So what did we do to solve this problem? So after Srishti was set up in 93, and I'm sure Chetan will explain to you the genesis of Srishti and Vishwati Yatra and all of its activities. We set up GYAN in 97. And GYAN's role was to link innovation, investment, enterprise. It was the first incubator for grassroots innovations, set up in 1997. It's a part of Honeybee Network. And all the three may not know each other, so the idea was to bring them together. So Honeybee Network promotes learning, Srishti tries to leverage, GYAN tries to link these actors, and I have tried to legitimize it in public policy because NIF is a part of Government of India. Now, how do we search innovations? Do you notice something in this, among these duck? What do you notice? Does anything strike you? I'll take another few minutes and then wrap up. Anybody? Does anything strike you in this picture?
Moving in the opposite direction.
Yes. And what's your name?
Chinankita, sir.
Would you like to be a duck like that?
Yes, sir. If it's something for the good of the society, then I.
You will not mind standing apart from the crowd? Tell me.
Yes, sir. Why not?
Why not? Good. I wanted to hear that. Very nice. You see, this is the point. There are people in this world who stand apart, who don't care for approval, who don't care for likes on social media. Oh, how many people like me? Doesn't matter if nobody liked you. But if you think that what you've done is good, that's it. That matters. How many people like it do not matter. Absolutely, they don't matter. Or by implication, if 10,000 people or 100,000 people like you, does it make you more impactful? No. You may have a joke, you may have a cartoon, and those things may be much more popular. So does it mean that we should only become cartoonists? No. So don't wait and don't seek approval of the people who may not even spend 1 minute on the problems of the society. How does it matter? But sometimes when you do good things, people do appreciate. But if they don't appreciate, don't lose heart. The lack of appreciation does not reduce the sincerity of purpose and genuinity of your effort, genuinity of your solution. So we start looking for such people around the country. That's how we find grassroots innovators. Anything or something different. May not be better, but something different. And we have located many such people all through the country. We were in Rameshwaram recently, and in a village, we were talking to fishing community, and a lady, Chetan is there, Amar?
No, Professor.
No, okay, I'm trying to remember the name. It will come in a few minutes, few seconds. The lady, Yelama, or what was her, Yatama, something like that. How was her name? It will come in a minute. Let me just see. I will just give me 1 second, and I'll tell you her name, because it's important. I should not forget her name. So let me just see. This is not a chef, and then there was this. Not Sumagitani. Just let me see if I can find. She was cultivating seaweeds. Sorry, she was collecting seaweeds, and she was collecting seaweeds from the ocean. And during this collection, she found 4 kinds of seaweeds. I think this is the one. Probably. Let me see. No. Where can't I find seaweed? Let me write down seaweed, and I'm sorry, but I want to tell you the name of the lady. Seaweed. Yes. Yes. Her name was Kalanji plant, and then her name would come now. She must be here. Perhaps it is here, Angarai. Her name Papadagurai, and she was in the village. She found 4 kinds of seaweed: Pakadagurai, Muralilundi, Jigardunda. I may not be speaking right. Katangorai. I may not be speaking. These are Tamil words, and I'm not pronouncing them properly. They are 3 to 5 kilometers away from the coast. They have to put a glass mask. They go underground, undersea, and then try to collect it. Now, what she told us about is that each one of the seaweed had different properties, and they sold it at very low value for 50 rupees per kg to 150 rupees a kg. And many of these are very good sorts of growth promoters, of dyes, and some of them are used even in a space program. They are such materials. Now, if some of you live near Rameshwaram or you come from that region, I would very much wish that you talk to the fishing community and try to take up a project on how to add value to seaweeds, which are naturally grown, not the cultivated ones, so that they can get more income from their hard work. And this will require some Vedana. You will have to realize the problem that they face. So that's how we discover very knowledge-rich people. And I will send the name to Amar so that he can share this name with you in the next session. So we try to learn from 4 teachers within us. All of us have a teacher who asks difficult questions. When we do something wrong, he tries to question us, punish us, shame us. Then teacher is around us among the peer, teachers in nature, and teacher is among the common people. 4 teachers from whom we learn. Summer we go to hot places, winter we go to cold places, looking for innovations, sharing the knowledge we have. So my colleagues, Amar would know, compiled, maybe you can share that compilation with everybody in the class, which was prepared before at least the Tamil speaking students will be able to understand. We compiled the literature which was published about the region and the knowledge of the people, but which was never shared with the people. So I'll now come to the very important part of honeybee network. There are 4 principles. One, whatever we collect from the people should be acknowledged. They should not become anonymous. A nameless, faceless person comes in contact with the network, gets an identity. So acknowledgement is very important. That's why I was looking for the name desperately, and I'm going to send it in a few minutes. Second, whatever we collect from people must go back to them in local language. We learn, but they should also learn. We talked to 50 people. Did we tell every one of them what we learned from 49 people? We have to. Second. Third, we should help. We should help them to learn from each other, cross-pollination of ideas. Third, if we add any value or we publish any paper, they should be co-authors. And if we develop any valued product and goes to market and we make some income, a reasonable share should go back to them. These are the 4 principles with which we started, giving voice, visibility, and velocity to the grassroots voices. That's our mission. So all of you are here in BIIS, and you will have to take one assignment based on the grassroots knowledge, either of the elders in your family or from the database that our colleagues will share with you. And Amar, if there is any problem, then I can come back in one of these days, next few days, for half an hour to tell them about different databases.
Okay.
Because they should select their problem very soon. By Saturday, each one of them should start concretizing the topic of their review, topic of their documentation. Documentation, they may not be able to give topic, but they will have to talk to the elders. Learning they will make from the service providers, low-income people in their neighborhood, and a project they will do to add value. A synopsis they will write, on the basis of which select 10 students who will get 1 lakh each for doing research on their ideas of grassroots innovators, or innovations for grassroots or innovation from grassroots, one of the two. But we will very much wish if some of you develop, or at least try to develop solutions. So I will stop here.
We have one slot.
Yeah, so we will discuss that.
So we can discuss on that.
Yes. So what I've tried to do, I've tried to change the context so that the content of your life, of your exploration of BIIS changes. We are trying to change the context of knowledge system. We are saying knowledge from informal sector is as important as knowledge from the formal sector. Poor people are not at the bottom of all pyramids. When you use bottom of the pyramid, don't use it loosely. Poor people may be at the top of ethical pyramid, cultural pyramid, creativity, innovation pyramid. Look at that. And then let me close by, these are some of more examples. We don't have time to go through. These are some of the products that Sachi has developed. I'm sure my colleagues will tell you about how people's knowledge has led to this development of this product. Amar, you should also show them virtually the lab, maybe with a camera. You could go around and show them what equipments we have, what facilities we have, so they can have a virtual tour. Last point is a change not monitored is a change not desired. If you don't ask questions about where did you learn about a problem, which of these do you feel strongly about, and did you take any action? If you did not take any action, then you will become cynical in due course of time. And I don't like cynical people, because we must be optimistic and we must try to solve some problems. We may not solve all the problems of the world, but we can solve some problems. One problem at least we should try to solve. So this is an opportunity for you to connect knowledge from formal and informal sector, to collect R&D that you are learning about or you have learned with the unmet needs of the society, to link innovation, investment, and enterprise, to become an entrepreneur if some of you want to, and finally, to be a good human being. The one who solves problem is a good human being. because we don't live with inertia. We don't live with the problem unsolved. We try to become part of the solution, not part of the problem. So I hope that you will continue to remain engaged, and hopefully, and you see this logo, give me a place to stand and I'll move the world. That's a logo in 93 when Srishti was set up, we chose. Because we wanted that knowledge system, the biodiversity and the knowledge system should be so strong. And this fulcrum is of R&D, modern R&D. So if we use modern R&D as a fulcrum, with our effort and knowledge system, we can move the world. That's what we are trying to do in BIIS. We can change the world, we can move the world, and all of you can be part of that solution. So I hope that you will try to bring about change in a magnificent manner. Times to come, and we will make us all proud of you. Because we really want that in some years we would say, oh, so-and-so was a part of BIIS 12, but today you see they're making so many waves in the world. So I'll stop here. Good luck to you all. Any question, any comment, and then I will stop. Few minutes, 4 or 5 minutes we can spend if there's anything that you want me to clarify.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Sir, just one question. When is the next Shodh Yatra is happening?
Good question. Very good question. Next Shodh Yatra may be sometime in October, November in Sikkim. And you are welcome to join the Shodh Yatra in Sikkim, West Sikkim.
All right, sir. Thank you. November 2nd, yeah?
Yeah, and you know, everybody bears their own cost. We bear some costs of common cost, but otherwise everybody bears their own cost. And we sleep on the ground, no comfort is assured. We eat what people help us to make, and we live very frugally. That week, we live as common people do. Any other question? Remember, in winter we go to cold places, in summer we go to hot places. Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for your session. Actually, sir, you have given us a homework on yesterday regarding there is a solution which can help us supply chain without having a refrigerator. They can store our fruits and vegetables.
Right.
Yes, sir, we have seen about it. It's a fruit tech company by a Dr. Jagadish Gupta, sir. So like they are working on some storage system which is 100% organic, which can store our fruits and vegetables to help us kitchen without using a refrigerator, sir. But yes, sir, but the thing is we're not able to get the what is their exact solution. Is there any organic?
I gave you a clue. I gave you a clue. I said there are leaves of a fruit. I gave you, there are 3 kinds of leaves: mango leaves, sua leaves, gravidans, and that is dill, and one more. There are 3 kinds of leaves which are the highest producer of a particular gas. I want you to find out that gas which inhibits the production of ethylene. Did anybody find out? Which gas inhibits the production of ethylene so that the shelf life can be increased without refrigeration? Sneha, go further. You are close, but not exactly. Just go further. Which gas? Yes. Sneha gets full point. Well, like nitric oxide will do that also. Now, nitric oxide is not as poisonous as nitrous, but nitric oxide can be released naturally from the leaves. Find out now, that's the next question, and send me a mail in the next few days, what will I treat the leaves with under the fruit? I'll spread the leaves, put the fruits, and then if I treat it with that particular compound, it will produce nitric oxide. Once nitric oxide is produced, you don't have to use any refrigeration, anything else. It will keep the organisms away for almost 15 days. In a truck, you can keep a box with the same process and it will release enough nitric oxide in a covered box, a covered truck, and it will keep your fruits fresh. You have to find them. The point I'm trying to drive home is that our mind doesn't go to the hard ways of solving. We always find easy way. Oh, we have to preserve the fruit. Why don't we keep in the refrigerated chamber? Refrigeration is costly. You need power. You need energy. And I'm talking about people of our country who cannot afford to have that much of energy and can't afford a cold chamber to keep the fruit. The fruit growers, how many of them can afford a large cold chamber? Many of you may come from those families where fruits are grown. So you need to produce solutions from within the system in very low cost. This scientist, Dr. Jagdish from NIPGR, National Institute of Plant Genetic Resources, has found that chemical. And in 1 rupee a day, he solved the problem. That's an extremely affordable solution. Very good science, highly affordable innovation. It works. So thank you. Anybody else has any comment or question? Anybody else? Let me see in chat if something there. Okay. All right, if there's no question, it's not very nice not to have questions, because I am finding that many of you are not feeling uneasy enough by the ideas. I would wish that 10, 15 questions would come after each session, so that it shows that you are engaging with what we're doing and we're able to break some inertia in your mind. Till we meet again, good luck to you all. Best wishes, and do keep looking for ideas from your elders and also ideas from those who serve you, the gardener, the sweeper, the messenger person, the maid in the house, the cook who cooks food in your hostel. Talk to them and learn from them. You will find that they may be poor economically, they're not poor in their mind. That's what I want you to realize. Once you learn this lesson, you will be respectful of people who may be less privileged than you, but whose knowledge will earn your respect. And you will be humble and say, well, with all the education, we found it difficult to solve this problem, but they can. So if you can get the knowledge of people who work with hands, there's a connection between hands and mind, the brain. You know, some of the great thinkers of our world were used, they were either sent, in the Bible, there is a story of St. Thomas. I think he was a carpenter, wasn't he? He was a carpenter. Hava was a musician. There were people who work with hand generally, who are also great thinkers. So mind gets activated when you talk to people who work with hands. Don't undermine their knowledge. This is my appeal to all of you. And learn it firsthand by talking to them. You will be convinced when you talk to them that they have so much knowledge, we never care to find this knowledge. So good luck to you all, and see you again sometime. Enjoy your lessons. Keep asking questions. And if there's anything we can do to make the BIIS better and more effective for you, do give us your suggestions. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, students, for joining us. We'll stop here, and tomorrow we have another session, special day. We'll start. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.